Hello, and welcome. Oh, cool. I have Christine hopping on. I'll give her a few moments to come in. And those of you who are watching elsewhere, let me know where you are watching from. I am streaming this to Facebook, my Facebook group. I'm streaming this to my Facebook page, and I'm also streaming it to YouTube. And I am going to put in some information here. Let me see if I can add into the stream. Christine, let me know if you can see me, if you can hear me. All right, I am going to jump in and get started. I see that I have at least a single live viewer coming in, and I'm just going to wait for Christine to show up if she's going to, yeah, I'm just going to pop her out for a second. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name's Camy, and if you don't know me, welcome. I am a life coach, and I'm an intuitive life coach. So sometimes I do these trainings very specifically because I feel like people need these. So that is what's coming up today. The full moon energy. We have a full moon happening tonight / in the morning. It happens around 1 a.m. Pacific time, and it happens at 4 a.m. Okay, Christine's here. Good. It happens at 4 a.m. on tomorrow, which is November 30th on the East Coast. All right, I'm going to pop Christine in. Hello, my dear. Let me just check your audio.
Hey.
I just want to check in case we want to engage in chat. Do we have audio?
Can you hear me?
We don't have audio. Okay, that's totally fine. I'm just going to mute you out. And that way, at least we know, and I'm not expecting you to talk to me. When we go through StreamYard, sometimes it's a little bit interesting. And kind of what I was doing is in the introduction is I came up with this idea to do the full moon because I know that the energy this week has been really heavy. So especially for me, and when I know, okay, good. Christine's here. Yes, I can see you and hear you. Okay, perfect. Good. When I know the energy is heavy, I feel often compelled to show up, even though I don't feel like showing up. So I'm just gonna let you know that right now. I've got my bright lipstick on. I'm looking cute today, but I don't feel like that. I just don't. Okay. And so the reason I wanted to come on is because a lot of you are probably feeling the same way. It was Thanksgiving here in the US. And things were different, right? Things were just looking different. There's maybe a lot of different routines going on. At least for me, I couldn't sleep pretty much the entire week. So I want you guys to put in the chat if anything was going on for you this week, because I really want this to be a support group and a place to talk about the not so good, right? Because I love the new moon because it's all about manifesting. It's all about like intention setting. But here's what happens when we're creating a new life, our old stuff has to come up. Like our old crap needs to come up so that we can take out the garbage so that we can move on to our new life. And that's really what has been going on this week, I feel. So what I'm going to do throughout this maybe 45-minute chat today, training today, is I'm going to give you some journaling prompts. I'm going to give you some actual practical things to do. And then we may pull some cards. I may go into a meditation. I'm kind of going to see what happens. I do want to show you my new shirt. I made this. So this is made. My mom and I have a Cricut. So we made this, and it just gave me those grateful vibes today. And I know we were in the season of Thanksgiving this week. And I'm happy to be here with you guys because it energizes me to be here and serve and to just see what's going on with you guys energetically as well. Because the way that I've been feeling is like every day is hard. Like when I wake up, it's hard. Like when I go to sleep, it's hard. So I want to give you some tools and some fun things that came to me intuitively this week. But first I wanted to say, I do follow astrology. You know, some of you guys don't know my background, but I have a degree in molecular cell biology. So I am totally right-brained in terms of like, let me research it and let me look up the facts and let me see. So I'm very smart and right-brained in that way. but I'm also highly intuitive. And I make decisions. I'm like, oh, that just feels right. And I just trust that, right? I am an ENTJ. So I am intuitive. I have that intuitive. And we all have that. We just typically are not told to honor it, and we're not told to trust it. We are told to go with the masculine. We are told to go with the logic. We are told to think about everything, think it through, the pros and the cons. But I can tell you, hands up if you've made a decision on like intuition only. And you're like, I don't know why, but we're doing it. Yeah, like that's how I married my husband, right? You're like, yep, this just feels right. Like, okay, like nobody can really explain it to you other than this just feels right. This feels like the right thing to do. So that's what we're going to go through in terms of this week, talking about astrology, talking about science, talking about energy, right? A lot of these things they're out there. They're not quantifiable. But as we get into quantum physics, it's basically showing us that nothing is quantifiable, like that everything's nothing. Like that's pretty much at the end of the day, quantum physics tells us that everything's nothing. Like when you try to go in and look at the smallest piece of matter, there's actually no matter there. There's more space in our bodies than there is matter. So the reason I start with this is because I often attract a lot of people who are very right brain, who are very logical, who are go-getters, just like me. And our right brain or our left brain, which is responsible for all of the, the thinking and the planning and the strategizing, usually wants to take over. But in a week like what we have going on now, I believe that this is time for us to really lean into our intuition, like to really just go like, you know what? My left brain is tired because mine is like, it's been thinking and practicing, and I'm writing a book right now and all the things. And I'm just like, you know what? I just want to sit here and, put my feet on the ground and like walk outside and sit with my crystals and, maybe journal, but not in an aggressive journaling way, right? Like just in a way that's like, I literally, to prep for this call, I laid on my bed, I closed my eyes, and I was just like, tell me what I'm teaching. And something just came to me so easy. And I think that we are so used to things being hard that we don't understand how easy it could be, that I could literally not prep and I could probably deliver something way better because I'm just going off of intuition. I'm not trying to say the right things. I'm not having an outline, right? So I also want to kind of teach you through experience as well, and teach you through this process of how can you start to embrace and allow the intuition, especially during this week. So I do want to give credit to the astrologer that I follow because he has been studying astrology for 20 years. I am a dabbler, right? And if you're new to astrology, this is how, and I do have a lot of people who are Christian background. So they're like, I don't know about astrology. This is weird. Like, I don't know what I believe. Here's how I view astrology. Number one, if the moon can affect the tides on planet Earth and the water, right? And if it's making the oceans come in and out, then even without scientific proof of how it affects us, any sane, logical person will go, okay, if I'm mostly water and the moon is affecting the tides, and it's so far and the ocean is so big, then of course it's got to be affecting me in some way. So when I look at astrology, when I look at the stars, the planets, and I just start to think about it, we're not the only energy in the universe. Some might say we're not the only intelligence in the universe, right? Like God, source, energy. There's so much more out there than just us. So what I say is being open to these things helps you to just understand the energies that are coming through. Like we just had a solar flare a few weeks ago. Those things affect us energetically. So it's kind of like looking at the weather. Like if it's going to rain tomorrow or if it's going to be 110 degrees, you would at least want to know, like, okay, energetically, these are the things that may or may not happen, so that way you can either just be prepared, or you can just give yourself grace, or you can say like, wow, this may be a tough week for me, just to prepare for it. It doesn't mean, I don't use astrology in a predictive sense to say like, well, Wednesday is going to be horrible, so I'm just going to lay in bed all day, right? I just go, okay, interesting. Wednesday's looking like it may be a more of a lower energy forecast. So maybe I don't schedule a Facebook Live that day, right? Or maybe I do. Like today, energetically, I'm not feeling it, but intuition told me to come on today. But my point is to look at astrology, and the person that I follow is Chris Watecki. And if you want to follow him on YouTube, he has a show called Namaste Today. That's his channel name. And he puts out an hour-long video every Saturday or every Sunday. So I watch that every week. And I've been subscribed to his service as well. So I want to give him credit for when I get these promptings. A lot of times it comes from the energy that he's reading, the energy that he's pulling through. And you can also follow him on Instagram, and he'll tell you like, today's feeling sunny and you're confident, you're energetic, or today you're feeling like kind of gloomy and under the weather. That's okay, right? That's just part of the process. So what was coming through for me, and normally like I'm so resistant to full moons because maybe it's because I'm a semi-hoarder, right? But like full moons are typically like getting rid of. What do you need to physically get rid of? What do you need to release? Like, what do you need to let go of? And I'm more of the like manifesting energy that's like, how can I have more and more and more and more? Forgetting that in order to make room for the more, we need to let go of. And I just did this. I just threw out makeup that I've had. Okay, this is how old the makeup was. It was from 3 relationships ago. Okay, I'm now married. Like, it was like from when I lived in another state. Like, it was like 2007. Like, I can't even, like, right? But it was like bare minerals. And I was like, but it's so good. But it's like, it's 12 years old. Like, hello. So I threw out the old makeup. I bought new makeup, right? But isn't it interesting how we get like latched onto something? We're like, but it's good quality. But yeah, it's old. It's like gross now, and like we want to hold on to it. So what's coming up for me right now in this full moon is, what are you like overly attached to? And in this full moon in Gemini, it is around your beliefs about yourself. So what are you overly attached to about yourself? Like, for example, this is another thing I did. Like, I did a lot of changes this week, now that I think about it. I'm just over skinny jeans. Like, I don't want to wear skinny jeans anymore. Like, I never actually wanted to wear them, but like they came into fashion, and like you're just like, well, this is the only option. But I went and I got wide leg jeans. I got high-waisted, wide leg jeans, bell bottoms. I'm like, this is what looks good on me. Like, I'm done with these skinny jeans. And isn't it interesting that like I was like playing that game every time, putting on the skinny jeans, like hating like putting my 15-inch calves into these skinny jeans. Like, I'm an athletic build. I don't need to be wearing these, right? Like, so those are the things that I was like trying to fit into for how many years, like literally and figuratively. So those of you guys who were in my Quantum Leap vision board workshop, which was on the new moon, which is fun, right? Yes, let's think of all these things we desire. Yes, and what do we need to let go of? What do we need to move forward in? How do we need to change in order to manifest, in order to create room for what we desire? Now, it may be a silly thing, me talking about wearing these jeans, but honestly, think about it. I love these new jeans so much, and I'm going to wear them with heels, and I can already imagine like just walking around, like strutting my stuff, just like I'm going to be me, and I'm going to wear these bell-bottom jeans, and like I'm done with this skinny jeans game. And so that's me taking a stand on what's good for me, and disregarding what society has been telling me has been in fashion for 10 years. So yes, it may seem small, but that is going to bleed over into other areas of my life. And what's really interesting right now, and I'll go over to you what I intuited as I was prepping for this call, is that we get so serious about things whenever it's like, I need to like change my brain. I need to change all these things. When it's like, well, maybe cleaning out your garage would do it. Like, that's the thing, Okay, Christine says, I spent the day donating 12 bags of clothes, old shoes, and stuff from my closet. Isn't that interesting, right? And I don't know if you knew it was a full moon or not, but like this is the time where people are getting antsy about like getting rid of and changing over. And what I noticed too is, so I'm visiting my mom, and tomorrow I'm going to be driving like 10 hours back home, back down south, up in the north right now. And everybody in this neighborhood has already transitioned over to Christmas stuff. Like, Christmas lights are up, like everything, like they just did the thing this weekend. Like, they did it, they transitioned, they made it happen. And I just thought that was interesting too, because think of the transition, because I watched my mom do it. I didn't help her. I was doing other things, but I was like, you guys got this, I'll let you do that. But all of those old decorations have to come down, right? Like all of the Thanksgiving stuff, and you have to take them all down. You got to put them in boxes. But that's the only way to make room for the Christmas season, right? So we have to get rid of, we have to take down, dismantle. Specifically, what we're talking about in Gemini is old beliefs about ourselves. Because especially when we're manifesting, and that's what I'm teaching inside of my academy right now. So those of you guys watching the replay who are in the academy, you know we're talking about manifesting. Those who are not yet in my Powerhouse on Purpose Academy, everything is 40% off through December 15th of 2020. So if you're interested in coming into the academy, go ahead and reach out to me. It's at powerhouseonpurpose.com. But this is what's so interesting. When we want to manifest, we can't, I just did a training on this, we can't build layers of manifesting and of saying, this is what I desire on top of negative beliefs about ourselves, because that is just going to be layered underneath. And it's going to be like, I'm not good enough, or I'm dumb, and so told me this about myself. And, I'm always going to have a challenge with my weight or my health, or I'm always going to be challenged around finances. So we have to change our underlying belief about ourselves, because we can't just pile on all these things that we desire without changing those beliefs and our own deserving about ourselves, and our own self-talk, and our own self-worth, and our actions we believe around ourselves. Do you think I get it next? Yeah. So it seems like makeup gets old quick, because you're like, dang, I've had this thing for a year, or like I can remember, oh, I've had it for 2 years, right? Like you kind of know. And I did a thing where I went at like natural makeup. So like upgrading those areas of life, like when we upgrade. So I messed around with it for a while. Like, oh, it's, what is it? It's like $50, or I go to Walmart and get one for $7, right? But it's, again, we're negotiating with our future in that same way. Like we can do something cheap right now and it might last. What are those consequences in the future? Like what will come down the line in the future? Who knows, right? I just know a lot of people who are affected with hormonal imbalances. They swear by the natural makeup. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen. I'm going to be gently influenced by them. And this was the season for me to do that. Okay. So let me go into, first of all, I'm getting sweaty, so let me take this off. And then let me go into what came through for me. I wasn't going to pull these manifesting cards, but I have this super attractor deck and I've been loving it. And I've been pulling it for my group because we are doing manifesting this month inside the group. And I wasn't going to pull because I'm like, this isn't about manifesting. But even though I really wanted to, because I love this deck. And it always gives me something good. And it like gives me like that boost that I need, right? And I flipped the deck over and the first card was on the bottom. I was like, ooh, this is purple. This is pretty. I feel like it's for me. And it says, when I'm patient, I let the universe do for me what I cannot do for myself. So if you guys want to take a screenshot of that, this is Super Attractor. When I'm patient, I let the universe do for me what I cannot do for myself. And I was like, we don't really want to hear be patient. Like, I want to hear everything's coming right now. All of my dreams are coming true. I get the new car. I get the new house. I get the things, right? Like, that's what we want to hear, especially when we're in a season of manifesting or believing, right? So it's like, okay. And I wanted to pull another card because I was like, let's just see what else there is. You guys are going to roll your eyes. I am patient. I was like, no, I am patient. Knowing that whatever is of the highest good is coming to me. And I was like, 2 patient cards. So there's your confirmation that this time, like, we need the full moon, right? Like, just like we need seasons. If you live in a climate where there's seasons, hot and cold, snow, we sometimes complain about it, the cold weather, but like, we need that time where things die off, where the leaves fall off, where everything looks brown and dingy. And if you live in a place where there's snow, it's going to be slushy and gross, and you're wearing boots and there's salt everywhere. I used to live in Pennsylvania for half my life and I moved to Southern California. But those seasons are necessary for things to grow and for things to die off that are no longer serving us. And guess what? Especially if you're a place where you're going into winter right now. And I know some of my people, like my Australia people, they're going into summer, right? So it's opposite. But when you're changing seasons, and a lot of times we look at winter as negative or it's cold and we bundle up and, it's dirty, all the things, right? And I started to get that way being up north because normally I'm in North Carolina and it's warm and I could take my shoes off and I could be outside. And what I was just noticing is things are different here and that's okay. Like, it's okay. I get to see deer here. They're everywhere, right? Like everything is different and that's also okay. And it's also necessary. And I think that's how I feel about the full moon. Like it has to come. Like we can't just be on 100% manifesting energy all the time. Like the season of letting go, the season of saying, I've had enough of this. Like I'm done thinking this. I'm done believing this. I'm done being in the struggle. Like we have to let that go before we can go into the next new moon, before we can go into the manifesting. And some of you who did the Quantum Leap Vision Board and the Quantum Leap morning routine with me, we set that intention a few weeks ago. But now is like when you get in it, like it's fun to manifest and it's fun to think about it, but it requires you to go through what we're going through now, which is waking up feeling like it's not coming, waking up looking at the bank account, waking up looking at our relationship status, whatever it is that you are quantifying. Remember, going back to quantum physics, just because you can't quantify it doesn't mean it's not already there. Doesn't mean it's not already in the works. Doesn't mean it's not already on its way. But when we have baggage, emotional baggage, physical baggage, actual literal baggage, junk that we need to clear out, then that's our responsibility so that universe, God, source can bring that new thing into our life. So this is the part. It's kind of like what I think too. I don't know how many of you love traveling, but I love traveling. So you can say, yes, I love traveling if you do. I love flying on planes to exotic destinations, like Bali being one of them. But one of the things I don't love about traveling, yes, Christine says I love traveling too. One of the things I don't love about traveling is packing. Like I get so dramatic about packing, like where I'll be like up until 1 o'clock the night before, like still awake, like nothing is in my suitcase. Like I'm procrastinating, right? And part of it's because I'm like, well, I don't want to forget everything. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to wear. And I just get all weird and dramatic about it. And when I packed for Bali, I was actually very impressed. I don't have my suitcase in here, but I should do a things I love because there's a suitcase that I did. I only packed a carry-on. And it was a backpack and it was expandable and I fit everything in there and I was gone for 10 days. So I was so impressed with myself. And part of that is like when you travel internationally, you like your luggage is transferring many times. So the likelihood of it getting caught up somewhere is high. And then also like I knew I was going to be out and about. So I wanted to be mobile and I wanted to have the backpack. So anyway, I packed for Bali amazingly and it was awesome. And I had everything I needed. It was perfect. But what I'm thinking of is we're so excited for the trip. We're so excited for where we're going, but it's kind of like we're preparing, like we're packing our bags, like we're getting ready. Like we have to do the thing that's kind of sucky to get ready to do the thing that we love. And that's how I see this full moon energy as. It's just like, it's the necessary process. And so this is what came through when I was intuiting and preparing for this is what should we do during this time, right? Because I have all these high achievers, I have all these doers, right? I know, Christine, you're a doer. I'm a doer too. We're like, when we're putting the energy out there and we're believing for something, we're like, well, now what do I do? Like, I needed to be doing something. And this season, like, especially through this week, like this transition until we get to, I think, December 15th, I think when the next moon is coming around, the message I got here is play. Like, play. And I have an acronym, like play explains itself, right? But one time I was sitting with a shaman, I did this experience with a shaman all day long. And what came through during my deep meditative process was, let's play this work. So like we think that this is personal development and this is work that we need to do. Well, first of all, we get to do it, right? Like we're alive, we're breathing, we're healthy. We are in the top 1% of people who are at the top of the hierarchy of needs in Maslow's human needs, right? We are food and shelter taken care of. We have the internet, we're on computers. We're in that top 1% of the pyramid where we are seeking self-actualization. So anytime we get a little upset about what's going on is being grateful, right, for the experience that this is the work that we came here to do, and we can play our way through it instead of getting so down about it, or instead of getting so like judgmental about the shadow. Because that's also what's coming up right now too, is this shadow aspect of everything that is the opposite of what you desire. So that's being revealed during this time. So if you're having tough days, if you're having, like last night, I had like I couldn't sleep. Couldn't sleep for many of like leading up to the full moon, which is tonight / tomorrow morning. I couldn't sleep, but last night was even specifically worse. And there was a series of events that kind of led to me going to bed really disturbed and angry and upset. And part of it was I was helping my mom with something. She was getting frustrated. I was getting frustrated. I was getting tired, and I just wanted to be done. And then I was getting ready to go to bed, but I remembered I needed to send an email. So I sent the email about this today. And then I was like on my computer late. And then I noticed I have several businesses, and I went in and I logged into the back end of my business. I realized this one thing shipped that it shouldn't have shipped. And I realized it charged my bank account that should have been closed, and the bank account wasn't closed. And it's like, it was all this drama. And I was just getting so mad. And then I realized I didn't meditate that day. So then I was mad because I was on a meditation streak on my app, and I didn't meditate that day. Like I didn't go on the app, and like I was so livid. Like I was laying in bed so mad, like so frustrated, like so distraught, like wanting to cry, like wanting to throw a temper tantrum, like just like kick my legs. I'm so mad at everything, right? And since listening to the astrology and like what's been going on is like this shadow stuff comes up, right? Of like, what is the old story about ourselves? And what's being revealed in me is this disorganization story has been part of my life, right? Like I'm disorganized, and like technology is hard, and like all of these systems and the bank accounts, and like these are old stories that came up, that bubbled up. And so what I was seeking as I was going to sleep was I release that story. Like I see what you're doing. I see that this is not how I want to live anymore. And I just like blessed it, and I said, you know what? Like like first of all, there's nothing I can actually do right now until Monday. So I'm going to call them first thing in the morning. Like everything's going to be fine. Like the bank account's going to be fine. Like this other thing's like it is going to be okay. And I don't need to literally lose another minute of sleep over this old pattern. So I wonder what has come up for you this week. And it might be leading up to the full moon, which is apexing in the morning, or over this next coming week. Expect that the things come up. And I think what's helpful is when you're expecting for it to come up, you can look at it and you can be grateful. You can look at it and you can play with it, right? Like a cat. Like I like to see my cat, like she plays with a ball of yarn. Like you're like, oh, interesting. Let me play with this because it's coming up for a reason. And ultimately I can choose it's time to take out the trash. Like I can choose this thought about myself is not serving me with where I want to go. This will happen repeatedly every time you quantum leap. I just had my biggest month ever in my business. And so this stuff came up again that was like, see, no, you can't do this because look, you're disorganized. You can't do this because look, the technology is not appropriate on the, like, whatever, like those things will come up because you are quantum leaping. So allowing that to come and just like, oh, this is really cool because it means I am going to where I want to go. This is part of the process. Like this is really exciting that these things are coming up because I'm choosing to continue to move forward. I'm choosing to continue to step into that quantum leap. And all of these things I can choose to rethink and repattern as I move forward. You have to spank those old beliefs and thoughts. Yes. Yes. And it's like in a playful way, right? Like you're not beating it. You're not like hitting it with a belt. You're just spanking them like, you guys, like, yeah, like you've tried to keep me safe for a while, but like we're going to this new place. And like, it's kind of like when you're packing to go to Bali, you're not packing your winter boots, right? Like you're like, no, I got sandals. Like you're cool. Even though your winter boots might be like, hey, come with me. You're like, no, like we're going to just go on with the sandals. We're going to move forward to where we're going. So let me go through this acronym of play, because this is what came up for me. And it makes me laugh sometimes too, because a lot of times I'm all about the doing. Like, what can we do? What can I do? What can I teach them that they could do? And really, the best thing we could do right now this week is play. And the first word that came through was pleasure. Like, and it was like the senses, like eating a piece of chocolate, like breathing. The one thing being up north, like the air is really crisp. So that I'll just like be there and I'll just like breathe in the crisp air, like hearing the leaves, like just have pleasure, like even drinking water. I missed my alkaline water. So now I'm like, I could really taste the chlorine in this, but like, how interesting, right? Like, so I can taste that. And I'm like, I can't wait to get back and get my alkaline water. But pleasure, delight, like dance, movement, taste, like senses. I've been really into the smelling candles lately and Palo Santo and just like this crystal. I'll just hold this crystal and it's cold. Yes, a fuzzy blanket. So just like getting in with the senses, especially when you're feeling like crappy. You're just like, oh, like I just wrap up in the sweater, right? Like that is one of the good things about winter, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. Like you get to be cozy and you get to put on the fire and like light the candles and the hot cocoa. So go for those things that are pleasurable. And we're taught in society not to seek pleasure. We're taught, especially with religion, don't be tempted and don't like pleasure is a bad word. But truly, like for us to be the embodiment of the divine, to experience this world as it is intended, is to see everything in vibrant colors, is to hear music, is to dance and play and touch and love. Like, and we get so caught up in screens, which is a false reality, whenever we are not actually fully sensing our current reality, right? That we're creating in every single moment as well. And when we're looking on screens and we're comparing and we're saying so-and-so's business is better, or they're married and their relationship is great, or they're having so much fun, we aren't creating our own reality from our own senses. Because when you can just have pleasure from being, just from like this moment right now. And I had this, so my mom got a hot tub. And funny, like I don't love hot tubs because they're too hot. Like I don't love like being super hot, but she keeps it rather low, right? But I was out there and we were just like sitting in the hot tub and we had the red light on, which was really nice. And there was like 3 deer in the backyard. But my brain was wanting to go to, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? And then the next day, and then I have to get this email. It was like totally just like going, right? And so I just like was like, I was breathing and I was like, okay, in this moment, and this is something that Eckhart Tolle teaches in The Power of Now. In this very moment, right now, everything is perfect. We have everything we need. Everything is perfect. We have everything we need. The house is not falling in on us. Like we're not imminently going into bankruptcy. And honestly, even if we were, we're still going to be okay. Like there's always a way. We're always provided for. I've been through many financial situations. And at the end of the day, I'm always provided for. I'm always provided for. And we all are. There's always a way. So anyway, I'm sitting in that hot tub. And so I just started to go, okay, connect with my breath. And I started to breathe deeply. And I noticed when I breathe deeply, like my body starts to float. And so then I was just having this moment and then my arms were floating. And I was like, this is what it's like to be a baby, like in the womb. And I started to have this like, I don't know if it's a flashback, but I was just like, okay, like, a baby in the womb, everything's provided for and they're not concerned. Like everything's cool. Like it's chill. Like, so I took myself back to that state of like, there's no reason to be thinking about anything 4 days from now, 5 days about next week, next year. Like, yes, we're taught SMART goals. We're taught planning, but in the moment when you've done the thing, let it be done. Let it be, it's enough. Like, let it trust that what you've done is enough. And energetically, it's okay to relax, recharge, to play, to have pleasure, be present. So that was all around the P, the pleasure. The next one, Christine, you'll like this one, is laugh. Like, just laugh. Like, stop taking yourself so seriously. And that's how I was this week, where I'm like, I literally feel like a zombie. Like I'm waking up so tired and I'm like dragging my feet and I like look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, oh, you again. Like, I'm just like so dramatic. And so I've been laughing at myself because I'm like, okay, you're being so dramatic, but like that's how my body feels. And it's partially because I've been eating different foods, right? Like the gluten. So like my body is physically reacting to me eating Thanksgiving dinner 4 days in a row, right? Like where it's like, you don't need any more gluten or dairy. That's pretty much, so my body wants juice, but like, I'm just like being dramatic. But as I'm being dramatic, I'm laughing. And I'm just like, okay, this too shall pass. Like just be in the moment, allow yourself to feel crappy, and also allow yourself to go like, interesting. I feel so much better when I move my body in the morning. I feel so much better when I have green juice. Like I feel so much better when I have my supplements, and I didn't have them with me. So it was a great contrast to go like laugh at myself and be like, wow, you're usually so dramatic about taking your vitamins, but like now that's all I want is my vitamins. Like I can't wait to get home and take my vitamins. So it just gives you that perspective of like, oh, okay, like everything is not as hard as you make it be, right? So that was kind of how I was reflecting upon myself, taking myself so seriously. So finding ways to just laugh. And if you have animals, that's like one of the easiest ways to laugh because they're always doing something crazy. Okay. This is the next one that came up. So this is the A for play. Act upon urges. And then when this came up, I was like, wait, what? Like act upon urges. What does that mean? And the clarity I got was like, when you get that intuitive hit of like what feels good right now, act upon it. Oh, I want some juice. Go do it. Okay. Oh, I want some chocolate. Okay, go do it. And here's what came up. It was what happens is we make things right or wrong and we make things bad. So going back to pleasure, like if you want chocolate, go eat it and enjoy it and love it versus arguing with yourself about the chocolate, making it wrong, and then later eating the whole freaking thing of cookies. So the act upon urges not only has to do with like eating and pleasure, but it has to do with like your business or like this, like me going live. Like I didn't really want to, but I knew it kept coming up. So I was like, okay, this is the urge that's coming up for a reason and it's not for me. So selfishly, like I have to follow it. I get to, right? Because this is my job. This is what I do. So I get to, meaning it's serving somebody on the other end, and I may never know what it is. But as I do that, I develop trust within myself. And that's the same way when you're going into business, when you're going into a relationship, trust the urge of like telling your partner, I love you, or telling them, thank you for making me toast this morning. Like do it in the moment because everything intuitively will get better when you trust those urges and when you trust those promptings. That's how you developed your intuition, by trusting it and following, going, oh, interesting. Like, I just had this like thought, I need to go to the grocery store right now. And like maybe that going to the grocery store helped you avoid a traffic slowdown or a fender bender, right? Like trust that things are always happening for you. And that's what those intuitive hits are versus, no, I'll do it later. Or we like do this whole argument thing in our head. Trust the urges and trust that they're for our highest good versus I think we always put ourselves in a negative light. Like I'm just a lowly human. And I just, I always used to say, I don't say this anymore, but it's funny. I always used to say, if left to my own devices, I would just stay inside, watch Netflix all day and eat cookie dough on the couch. Like, and that used to be my reality, right? Like that used to be like what I thought who I was. And now I realize like, no, if I was left to my own devices, I would just be living in a treehouse in the woods, like, and just like being like literally like talking to the animals all day. But I think what we do is we make ourselves seem automatically wrong because all of the inputs that we're getting from Instagram, from Facebook, from all of the places, from all of the commercials are telling us that we are not enough, we don't have enough, and we're wrong in some way. And I have the thing that can help you fix your wrongness. Whenever really, when we take all of that out of the equation, we have so much rightness about us and we have so much intelligence and intuition when we allow ourselves to act upon the urges without just blanket statement saying humans are wrong and I'm bad and I don't have good judgment. This is a chance for you to trust your intuition and start to take action. And this wasn't action. Like the word wasn't action. Okay. I want to make sure that none of you take any action. Like this is the one time where I'm like, take no action. This is act upon urges. So it's little things. It's like, ooh, I want some tea. Like I went and bought some ginger tea this week. It felt right. My body needs it clearly, right? Like Green juice. Okay. Act upon the urges. It's the little urges. It's those little nudges. So this is not a massive action week. This is more of a self-care week. And then lastly was the why for yes. And this doesn't mean say yes to everything, because I was questioning, okay, what does this mean? It is tune into your yeses. Meaning, are you just saying yes because you've always said yes and that's just what you do? Or is it a true yes? Like, are you like, I've been going to this friend's house for 10 years every Friday, but like maybe you've been like, I don't really want to go to her house anymore? Or like, have I been going to this same church? Or have I been going to this same meeting, whatever it is? And is it still a yes? Like, recheck in with your yeses and then start to explore, like, what else could I yes? Like, what else have I just not done? Because who knows why? Like, I just didn't do it. I didn't realize it. And this came up for me when I went and did a photo shoot with a horse a couple weeks ago, where I was like, there's a horse farm right beside my house. Like, I could go see horses every week. Like, why am I not doing this? Like, that is a full-blown yes for me, right? Like, that's so easy. That's so effortless. Like, that's a yes. So, but I'm just not. And why? Because I've just gotten into a habit and a routine of like staying home and just blah, 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 and like working in the house. So start to tune into your yeses. And also, if you know your human design, this is helpful. Not everyone is going to be like me. I'm a manifesting generator. And Christine, I think you're a manifesting generator too, or a generator. I can't remember. But what I was getting on this yes is you'll get like an intuitive hit, whether it's a yes or a no right away, right? Like, you're like, someone's like, do you want to come? No, I don't. And then we'll be like, maybe I'll see if I can make it. When you're like, no, I'm definitely not coming. I don't want to, right? But we act out of like this social norms. But I want you to realize we hurt people by doing this. We hurt people by not letting them know who we truly are. It's like, I don't like bowling. I never liked bowling, but I've been coming bowling with you for 20 years. Like, why am I still doing this, right? Like, it is so much better when you're like, hey, I would love to hang out with you. I love you, but I would rather go hiking. Let's go hiking. And they'll either say yes or they'll say no, but you will either enrich your friendship and find out you both like hiking, or you will attract more people who like hiking, so that now you're not in a smoky, bowling alley, you're outdoors and you're hiking and you're doing what you love. When we're setting boundaries, right? And saying yes to something is a boundary, because that means you're saying no to something else. When we set boundaries, it's beneficial to our relationships because we're letting them know who we are and what we like. And when we do that, we are in our fullest expression, we're in our fullest joy, and we're able to connect more. Yeah, Christine says saying no is a new boundary that I'm leaning into. Yes, I love this. And I see it as a service. Like, saying no literally is a service, because what we're doing whenever we say yes to something without our full alignment and our full energy is the word that's coming to me is like fractal. Like, we're fractaling our energy. Like, whenever we could say yes to this one thing all in 100% and do amazing at it or experience it fully, or we're going to fractal ourselves and do a crappy job over here and only show up 23% over here. And it's going to trickle onto our life in all areas. So by you saying no in this one area, it's going to allow you to show up more in another area, which will ultimately serve you. And it may or may not serve that relationship directly, but it's serving some other relationship in your life. So that's also when we revisit our values and what's important, especially in boundary setting. Is work the most important? Is family the most important? Is self-care the most important? And setting boundaries around those things. Okay, and I have to laugh right now. Oh, art therapy has been helping me set boundaries. That's amazing. I love that. And what a cool right brain activity, and intuitive and just like flowing and allowing. I love that idea. And I'm laughing right now because I'm locked in a tiny room. This is another good laughing situation. My dogs have been farting so much since we've been here. So like, I can taste dog farts in my mouth right now. And I'm like sweating because I'm like, it's so gross. I thought I'd bring that up for a good laugh for you guys, because they're like, it is potent. It is potent. So many smells here in Pennsylvania. I drove past a skunk today too, using my senses. Okay, so that was the acronym for play. So here are your 3 journaling prompts as I wrap this up. And anybody who's tuning in from the Facebook group or elsewhere on Facebook, I do want to let you know I will get back to your comments. I can't see everybody's comments at now, but I do read all the comments. And if this is something you want more of, again, Powerhouse on Purpose Academy is on sale right now. So you can go to powerhouseonpurpose.com. And the Quantum Leap morning routine is also on sale for $1. It's $1. Like what? I know, right? It was normally $7, but even still, it is $1. And what you'll get with that is my 5 recordings of the meditations, which I know Christine was there for. They're amazing. So hop into that. Hop into that if you're wanting to learn more about these quantum commitments we're going through now, which is essentially getting rid of the old and committing to the way we want to think in the future. So here are your 3 questions, your 3 journaling prompts. What have I been thinking about myself this entire year that I'm ready to let go of? What have I been thinking about myself this entire year that I'm ready to let go of? This is something that has been inherent probably with us for many years, but we've been practicing this thought and we've been kind of attempting to back away from it. What am I thinking about myself and what am I ready to let go of? This is the season. This is the time to get rid of it. This energy of this full moon is transformative and it is the time. We have been working on something since April of 2019, and this is like the fruition of it. This is like, okay, we set our intention of April 2019. We've seen how our life has changed over the last 2 years or so, but now is like our final commitment to like, okay, I've been letting this thing kind of hang around. My life is a lot better. I've made a lot of progress. I honor myself, but also I'm ready to go to that next level. And that next level does not include this thing, does not include this belief. So then, what am I believing? And I just put down the areas health, wealth, and love. Those are 3 of the big ones. What am I believing in the areas of health, wealth, and love? And then question number 2 is, what do I now choose to believe? What do I now choose to believe moving forward? And then number 3, what shadows are surfacing and how can I care for myself? So just like I had that like ridiculous night last night where all of my drama was coming up, I could care for myself just by saying like, oh, cool, interesting. I'm going to play with these thoughts. I felt the feelings. I let everything come up. I was so frustrated. I was so annoyed. And I was like annoyed that I couldn't sleep and then all the things. But then I just decided, like, I choose to believe that this story is behind me. I choose to believe that everything is going to work out for me. Like, that is what I say every day. But do I truly believe it? Like when I'm in the mix, right? And the shadow side comes up and says, you don't really believe it. Look at you. See, you don't believe. But I chose in that moment to go say, interesting. I see these thoughts. See these feelings coming up. And I still choose to believe that everything is going to be okay. First thing Monday morning, I'll take the action. But I also know that energetically, everything is fine. Everything is taken care of. And not only that, new level, new devil, more businesses, more bank accounts, more systems, more technology, quantum leaping in business especially, requires this level-headedness about all of these things. And I think about Tony Robbins. I know you were just at his UPW. He shared his story about, he does live events. That is what he does as a business, right? And so he shared his story about 2020, all the live events are shut down, and he lost and he has like 52 companies. So I'm thinking, how much money did he actually lose, right? Like, and I'm thinking about it in my head, like, I don't even know that I can think in my brain how much money he lost, right? But he went through his own drama about it, and he just decided, like, I am not allowing the government, the situation, anything to affect my business, my impact, right? Because he also has a business of impact. We all do. If you're watching, you probably are a person of impact. So he just decided, I'm going to spend, I think he put $3 million into creating a virtual studio so that he could host 22,000 people in a virtual space at his events. So essentially, Tony Robbins is still going through mind drama. We're all still going to go through mind drama. I think that we put this thing like, oh, once I quantum leap, everything's easy. Once I quantum leap, like everything just, it's like, no, like then you got more taxes, then you have a bigger car, you have a bigger house. Like, it's just a new challenge and a better challenge, right? Where you're like, oh, I have so much money, where am I going to invest it? But you still will be met with challenges. So your job is to let the shadows come up, because they're coming up so that you can get to that next level. Because let's deal with them now when you have this amount of money in the bank versus have a complete meltdown, right? When you've quantum leapt and you're not capable. And what I truly believe is the universe won't give it to you if you're not capable anyway. So like, deal with your shadow, deal with the stuff that's coming up, because on the other side of that is the new belief. On the other side of that is the person that you're stepping into. So honor the shadows, even when you feel like crap. Like, do it, show up. Like, show up for yourself is what I'm saying. It doesn't mean like, I protect myself certain weeks of the month because my energy is low. This is one of those weeks I typically don't come on live, but I knew everybody else is probably feeling as crappy as I am or worse. So I needed to come on. Yeah, like, I needed to come on and give you some tools and share my own experience, because I go through it too. I think sometimes people see my lipstick and listen, I put my lipstick on to feel better. But like underneath, I still feel like I'm dragging, right? So I needed to come on to share this with you so that you could see this is actually how it's done behind the scenes. This is what happens when the shadows come up. And it still can be done in a playful way. It still can be like, you can just laugh. Like, you can just be like, I was being so dramatic, and like, it's fine. Like, let it be what it is, versus trying to fight it, versus trying to pretend like we don't have negative thoughts. Because when you try to pretend like your cat didn't piss in the room, like, it still smells like cat piss. Like, even if you can't see it, like, it still smells. I have my cat with me. That's how I know. She misses the litter box sometimes. You guys are getting a dramatic representation of my life with the dog farts and the cat peeing outside the litter box. But this is real life. Like, this is what comes up, right? Animal ownership, being a parent, being a business owner. On the surface, it's like, oh, look how cute they are. Look at that baby. Look at that business. But like, on the back end, you're literally dealing with some shit somewhere. Somebody is. But you can also laugh your way through it, right? Like, when you're covered in it, you might as well laugh, because it's going to stink no matter what. So you might as well just get some joy out of it. So I'm going to finish up now. I don't have a lot more to add from here, other than I'm glad, Christine, thank you for showing up with us live today. I look forward to hearing comments of people watching the replay. So if you stayed and watched the replay, do hashtag replay. Let me know what's coming up for you. If you're not already in my Powerful Potential Facebook group, that's the place to be. That's the place where I do free content, where we collaborate together, where you can come in and be like, oh my gosh, this happened this week. That's the cool place to be for free support. And if you're looking for more support, if you're looking for more community, Christine is part of my Powerhouse on Purpose community as well. This is where we really support each other. This is where we go deep. This is where I choose a topic each and every month around health, wellness, love, finance, abundance, energy, all the things. And we're really going deep into manifestation, but I needed to bring up this crappy energy, because it's hard to hold the manifestation energy when we're going through this. So just allow it and just continue to hold the faith. I just did a training about making a cake, right? Like, it's making your abundance cake. And at the very top of the cake, it has to do with laying a foundation of trusting, and like laying a foundation of positive expectation, right? Or working the whole way up. But the very top of the cake is not needing to have evidence, of just holding the faith. So if nothing else in this moment, you can just go, okay, I've been in a dark season before. I know that the light's coming. Like, I'm just going to keep following my bliss, following those little nudges, those little pleasures. I'm just going to keep taking care of myself. I'm just going to keep being patient and finding those everyday joys as that thing comes, as that thing I'm wanting to manifest comes. And in the meantime, you might look around your house and see there's things to get rid of. There's old makeup to throw out. There's bags of clothes to get rid of. You might find that this season of nothing happening, or it's not happening fast enough, gives you time to look around and go, oh my gosh, like, there is a layer of dust, on my whatever. And we're asking for more money, but we're not taking care of what we have. Or I haven't had a date night with my husband in so long, but I want more of this. Like, so it's like, okay, what do we need to take care of as we're asking for more? Because this is also is energetically aligned abundantly. Or do I need to throw out the sweatpants that have a hole in the crotch? You know, like if I'm acting in abundance, do I need to throw out those old sweatpants? Do I need to shave my legs? Like I'm talking to somebody, right? Like, do I need to take care of myself? Because we oftentimes will ask for something, but our energy and our actions are not aligned with what we're asking for. Or we're wanting to show up on a public stage, but in our interpersonal relationships, we're not acting as a leader. So it's just very, very interesting. And this is the shadow work. Like this is the looking in the mirror and going, interesting. Okay, I got some things to clean up without any shame. It's just self-awareness and going, oh, okay, this probably isn't going to come if this thing isn't lined up, right? That's all it is. So let me finish. I'm going to pull some from the Spirit Animal Oracle. This one is a beautiful Colette Baron Reed. And this is the one I'll just share with you that I pulled for myself this morning. And it is the Butterfly Spirit. Yes, I knew you would love that, Christine. Transformation is beautiful. And I'm going to pull another one for this group because this is for me. But I'm going to pull one specifically for those of you on live right now. And whoever watches the replay, I trust and believe that this will give you some inspiration, give you some journaling topics. And we are truly in a season of transformation, right? We are in that season of getting rid of, oh, hey, baby, getting rid of and allowing something new to come in. But there's a period of darkness. Oh my gosh. Okay. This one, Armadillo Spirit, set healthy boundaries. And this is so interesting because a friend of mine asked me to pull a card for her this week. This is the card I pulled for her. So look, out of this many cards, I pulled this card twice. So clearly this is, I think, collectively for everyone, setting healthy boundaries. And that has to do with what I was talking about knowing what your yeses are. And then I just like to describe the card a little bit. This armadillo has like 4 ear piercings. The reason I think that's kind of cool is because, again, like, it's just like, listen, I want to have 4 ear piercings. Like, I don't care if that was cool in the 80s. Like, kind of like with my jeans. Like, I was just like, this is what I'm doing now. Like, this is what I want to do. This is who I am. More jewelry. Yes. Christine's like, yes, more jewelry is what I heard from that. And also, I also see like the armadillo has this like covering, right? It has like this hard shell, this hard exterior, but it also has a soft underbelly. So like it doesn't mean that you need to be mean or firm. And I think that's what people think about boundaries, but it's more about protecting your intuition. It's more about protecting your mission on this planet. Because again, we can get pulled in so many directions and then we get off course. We get out of our lane. And when we're not in our lane, we're not serving at our highest level. We are not doing things for our highest good, therefore for others' highest good. So I see this as like a really cute armadillo, like being like, hey, bro, like, I'm not coming to the pool like later. Like, I don't know why the armadillo swims, but he's like, I'm not coming to the pool later. I'm not about that life. Like, I'm really busy. I'm going to be gardening. So like, if you want to come to my garden, you can come to my garden. But like, he's not hurting his friend by saying, I'm not coming to the pool, right? And so it's just very, very interesting. And we can play with this because when we think of setting boundaries, we get really weird about communicating. We get really weird about our energy. We get weird about who it's going to make angry. Whenever it's like, if everybody just was truly themselves and was like, no, thank you, I would not like to do that. And was like, yes, I would like to do that. We would find people energetically aligned to us. We would find jobs that are energetically aligned to us. We would find clients that are energetically aligned to us because we're just being ourselves. So I say setting boundaries as being yourself, trusting yourself. So this week is all about trust. All right, beauties. And if you guys want to see the descriptions, I will post the descriptions inside of the Powerful Potential Facebook group, but I'm going to close this out tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was a joy and an honor to serve you. Have a beautiful night and set your intention before you go to bed. I'm actually going to pull up the sleep intention because I get a text from Chris Witecki, and he says, Prayer is the key of the morning and the bolt of the evening. And this is from Mahatma Gandhi. And he says, I pray you sleep well, dear friend. The sleep intention. I am grateful for clarity. This is for me because you know what I decided? I'm no longer here for being confused. I'm no longer here for being confused because it gets in the way of aligned action. So I have clarity. I declare clarity every day and I move in the direction of clarity. And I wish that for you as well. All right, everybody. Have a beautiful night and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.